Hey, good morning, spirit friends. This is Kathy again, and I wanted to get on today to share with you a few things that have been happening in my life lately, but also I wanted to do a YouTube video as a follow-up to a blog post I wrote last week on looking at the difference between intuition versus your ego. But before I get into that, I wanted to share a couple exciting things that happened to me lately. And the first one was a radio interview that I did through Lit Fire Publishing. And I was interviewed last week by Kate Delaney, who is the host of the nationally syndicated radio program America Tonight. And I do not have the link for that yet, but when I have it, I will definitely be posting it. And it was so exciting and really a big thrill, just speaking about my experiences and of course my book, Spirit and Belief, and just sharing with her how intuition has really worked wonders in my life. And we talked about meditation and lots of cool stuff. And it was such an honor being interviewed by somebody who has a national radio program. So again, once I have the link, I'll post it. But it was a great time. And the second thing was, about a month or so ago, I was interviewed through my local spiritual group here called Harmonic Journeys. And I was interviewed to be a guest on their podcast, and that is up now. So I gave it a listen the other day. I think it turned out really well. It's almost 40 minutes, but I'm going to post the link at the bottom. But it's harmonicjourneys.net, and I'm the first one. So when you click on the links for the podcasts, so go to the top left corner if you're interested and click on the link and scroll down to podcasts, and mine's the first one because it's posted for October, so you'll see my name there, Kathy Pickett. And so of course we do talk about my book, but we also talk about how I began the book with a blog. And so I discussed that process of how to start a blog. And then I also mentioned YouTube. For people out there who are looking to try different things. So I discussed those aspects too. And then what led me to the book. And so that was just very warm and engaging conversation. And I got complimented on it that I did a great job. So I love speaking. And I spoke to this woman at an author conference this past weekend. She just lost her husband a few years ago, and we just really bonded, and she told me things she had never told anybody, and she bought my book, and I was so moved by her. But anyway, so those were just some great things that have been happening lately. So I wanted to just do a little video here as a follow-up for anybody who was reading the blog, spiritandbelief.com, and I have information for my book on there. I have a work with me page. But I wanted to do a video because I'm always this big myth buster, right? And we always view the ego as being so bad and negative, and it holds us back and it keeps us in our comfort zone, which is good. But I'm here to tell you that what you need to concentrate on is that we always need to keep things in balance, right? So we should always be guided by our intuition. But I just know I needed that ego. When I first started, I didn't have that BFF to turn to, and I didn't have a trusted family member or anybody that I could confide in and, use the internet to really help me learn and grow, and books, of course. But I needed that ego as my cheerleader, so to speak, to, keep me going. Because as an empath, and if a lot of you can relate to this, we do lead with our heart. And as great as that is, sometimes you do forget the head and you forget the logic. And I did for a few decisions because I just jumped the gun and I just dove right in. And but you need that ego to keep you grounded. I am not one of those spiritual people who, maybe some people have a lot more than I do, as far as experience with this, studying it for years, but I do not believe that the ego needs to totally be bad and negative and go away. No, and I kind of compare it in my post to, let's say, cholesterol. That was always such a negative word, and we view that as bad. There's good cholesterol too, So you have to have the balance. You always have to have the balance. So the healthy ego is what you need. Okay, the negative ego will tell you things like, you're not good enough. Who are you to do this? Who are you to write this? Who are you to say this? All that self-talk that's negative. But it wants to keep you where you are because you're safe and you're protected, and you can't think outside that, and no, you're just going to get hurt, and you can't think outside the box, and you can't get out of your comfort zone. And so yeah, that's a huge part of it. Okay, but I think there's another part of it too that people forget. I do not view the ego as being horrendous and that you should just get rid of it, and all these things that people say about it. I think about it very differently. You have to have that logic too. And yeah, I do think with my heart a lot, but I need that ego. I need that to boost my confidence and say the good part of that. And I think we tend to forget that. I think a lot of people really do view that as being negative, and the ego is all bad, and I don't believe that. I really don't. And you have to look at your own life. And I say in the blog post, ask yourself some questions, do some exercises, intuitive exercises, the ego versus intuition. And I know it's challenging because you have to look at your life, the big decisions in your life, and try to do like pros and cons. How would you feel if you made this decision based on the ego or based on your intuition? Okay. And maybe switch it around and then see, how did you feel after? Were you more guided to go one way over another? So you have to ask yourself questions, because intuitive-based decisions are very calming. And when I've had some clairaudient episodes with the hearing, I know that, because that is not how we normally are. We're all panicked, and if you feel rushed to make a decision, that is a huge one for you. Take 24 hours and really think about it, and do things that work for you. Meditation, prayer, anything. If you have divination tools that might help you with some guidance, try those. Try anything that works for you. And what works for you might not work for someone else. Like how I view the ego maybe isn't always how other people view it. So try those exercises. Ask yourself these questions ahead of time, or even after, and you don't want to regret stuff, because they're all life lessons and we're all supposed to learn. Okay. So even if you made a decision and you say, I should have listened to my gut. I get that feeling in my gut. That's how I know. And I talked to Kate about that, because she asked me, well, how do you know? If people are to tap into their intuition, and what if you don't know? What if you don't know the feelings you get? And stuff you get might be different than someone else's. So you have to listen to that. But I do still always think that's a three-way street. It's your mind, it's your heart, and it's your gut. And we always forget, but I do think they need to all work together. I do not believe in eliminating the ego. I really don't. If I get some, flack for that, I'm ready for it, because I just know how my life works and how decisions are for me. So you need to ask yourself some questions, or if you've already made some major life decisions, go through them and say, oh my gosh, how would I have reacted if I would have, gone a different way with this? But I don't think the ego needs to be all bad. But you have to look at your life, okay? And so if you're unsure and you want to try some things to get there, do things that will work for you. Ask, and connect with the universe in a way that works for you. And your decisions too might be different than someone else's. Like, don't feel like you have to copy everybody if they're all doing it this way. So intuition is more of a knowing, where it's calming, and you will know that because you just have a lightness about you. You don't feel all this fear or anxiety connected with it. But again, it doesn't have to be the negative part of the ego. You got to keep your head in check too. Okay, and I've said in blog posts, you don't want to be penniless, you don't want to be a victim. Okay, so it's all about the balance, and I still believe that. So I think it's true with the ego too. I do not think that needs to disappear. I know I needed it. I really did. And you know, even mentioning Warrior, he needed it. And I know the bad part of the ego is it's going to make you seem like you're better than everybody else, or maybe the opposite, where you don't feel good enough to do what you're doing. So that's the negative part, but you got to get in the middle. So it's all about that. So just ask yourself some questions, try some activities, try some intuitive exercises, see how you would feel if you would go either way with the ego versus intuition. And just try them and just really try to connect and see what's working more for you. Is it your head? Is it your heart? Is it your gut telling you? You know, the gut does tell you things, and your body will tell you things in other physical ways. So you need to try that and see what works for you. So that is my take on intuition and the ego. And if you feel compelled to subscribe to my channel or share with your friends, leave me some comments. Let me know how the ego or intuition works for you. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. Get conversations going because I'm open-minded to other people and what they have to say. And I would love to guide you on this. But like I said, it's different for everybody. So just know that there is a healthy ego, okay? And people might not tell you that. They might tell you, no, it's all bad. I don't think that. I really don't. So let me know what you think. You can find me Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, spiritandbelief.com, my book, but also my Warrior Ratings if you want to follow that blog as well. So I'm out there. I have an Amazon author page. You can check on that for future events. So let me know your thoughts, and I'm going to be back soon because I got a couple more card decks. So I'm getting into those, and I wanted to kind of absorb those a little bit. So I'm going to be talking about those next time. So until then, have a great day, everybody. Follow your intuition, but don't forget the good ego. I see you next time.